Tuesday Zoom class. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you're staying safe at home and ready for a good workout. So we're going to start with a good morning hip hinge. Shoulders down, leading with that chest, knees nice and soft. Coming up and squeezing the glutes. All right, let's add a little squat to that. So you're going to do a hip hinge, mini squat, and then you're going to reach up on the toes, all right? So here's your hip hinge, leading with your chest, knees nice and soft. Dropping hips if you can, and then reaching up over the shoulders for that nice stretch. Good. So on that hip hinge, you're feeling hamstring.
The next workout will begin.
Hamstring stretch.
Please proceed to extension.
And then reaching up, calves, and a full body stretch, reaching toward the ceiling. All right, 2 more. Nice, full balance there. And reaching up nice and tall. Excellent. We're going to do a step back, opening up the chest, which looks like this. So you'll stretch your calf, hip flexor, and open up the chest at the same time. Alternating sides. And you're just going to slide that foot right back. Now, if you're finding the balance challenging, make it a smaller step back, okay? But you want to try and keep both feet facing forward on this. Not turning that foot up, keeping it facing forward, opening up that chest. Good. Great. From the side again, it looks like this. Good. Chest is up. Heel down if you can get it there. Heel down. Good. So opening up the chest again, opening up the hips. Hip flexors tend to be tightened throughout the day with sitting, driving. 2 more. Excellent. Now we're going to open up the hip flexors even more in a different way, stretching the inner thighs. Feet are parallel, pushing the hips back, reaching across the body, making sure this knee doesn't go past the foot, okay? Because that'll put stress on the knee. So you really want to push those hips back. Notice how I'm keeping my chest up. You don't want to be down here. It's not that it's wrong, but I want you to try and stay high here. You'll feel more of a stretch here, okay? Great.
Begin set 2.
I have to get rid of my mask. I'm alone. Okay. Good. So reaching across the body, feeling that nice stretch in the inner thighs. Keeping the chest up. Let's do a couple of doubles here, or pulses, a little pulse or double, little pulse, double. Good. Pushing the hips back each time you go to one side, making sure that knee doesn't go past the foot. Great. Let's do 2 more here. Pushing the hips back, pushing the hips back. Nice. Okay, a little balance.
Stop.
Reach.
Exercise.
Opposite arm and leg. Try to get this knee right in front of the hip. And then reaching right over the shoulder. Woo! Remember, with any balance exercise, focusing on something in front of you that's not moving is really helpful. And trying to get that range of motion over the shoulder. So as we get older, we tend to get lazy about range of motion. Sometimes you might be reaching here. I want you to try to reach right over that shoulder, shoulder allowing. Of course, if you have a shoulder issue, if you can't get right over, that's okay. But trying to keep that range of motion, that overhead range of motion. Good. Great. And we're going to stay with this marching, and we're going to do a little open and close here with a march. Great. Nice high knees if you can. So getting nice warmed up. Good. Shoulders are down, chest is up. Great. All right, now we're going to keep opening up the chest, and we're going to do a little booty kick. So this time, activating hamstrings with a dynamic quad stretch. Notice my knee stays right underneath my hip on this as I'm reaching my heel towards my butt, booty. Great, and opening up that chest. Pick it up a little bit. Nice. All right, we're going to start today with some push-ups. You can do your push-ups on a wall. You can do them on a counter, on an island. You can do them on the floor. You can do them on a bench. I'm going to use this bench right here.
Stop exercise and switch to the next.
Wherever you feel that challenge. If a push-up does not work for you, you can do a lying down chest press with your weights, either this way or close press would be this way, okay? Either of those also work the chest and triceps. Okay, so I'm going to start here, plank position, pushing myself up. So hands wide here, making sure you're breathing. You're staying in that plank position. Leading with the chest. I'm almost there.
Stop,
Right.
exercise.
So I want to remind you a couple of things. You want to make sure your head and neck stay nice and neutral. I see people doing a lot of this when they're doing push-ups, leading with the chin. I want to make sure you're leading with that chest and everything else just along for the ride. Head and neck along for the ride, everything in that straight line, whether you're doing it on a wall or on a bench or on the floor, okay? All right, set number 2. Plank position. Leading with the chest. I'm realizing I have the wrong bench here, so it's a little shaky. I'm going to adjust here. Great. Moving plank, that's what a push-up is. Nice and challenging. Working chest and triceps.
Stop.
Keeping the abs and glutes nice and engaged. So, yeah, I've got the wrong bench, so it's a little shaky, so I'm kind of trying to figure out that adjustment. But anyway, whether you're on a bench, whether you're on a wall, whether you're on the floor, leading with that chest, everything else along for the ride, okay? Shoulders are down, chest is open. Great. Woo. Keeping the glutes tight, keeping the core engaged. Should be feeling that chest and triceps now, ladies.
Stop, exercise.
All right, we got one last set. Shake it out. Woo! Well done. Last set, and then we're going to go to a wall sit, okay? All right. See if I can keep this from moving. Here's your final set.
4.
Plank position. Here we go. Keeping that plank. Leading with the chest. Head and neck fine. Last set, ladies. Good work. Woo! Almost there.
Stop, exercise, and switch to the next.
And that's just how you want it. See how I was failing toward the end? So hopefully you were too. All right, wall sit is next. If a wall sit does not work for you, you can always do a squat, holding onto a table, holding onto a counter, on a chair, okay?
Begin set 1.
All right, with our wall sit, remember you want to think about core engagement here. Going down as low as you can, knees allowing. So if your knees are a little sensitive and it's better for you to stay high, you can certainly do so, okay? As long as you're feeling in your quads, you want to make sure the weight is mostly in your heels, not in your toes, not leaving your, putting any stress on the knees. And then abs nice and engaged. I'm just holding some weight on my legs right now. We're going to add a curl in a moment for those who would like to do so. Okay.
Stop, exercise.
All right, there's our break. Shake it out. All right, so for those who have weights and they want to add an arm curl to this, feel free to join me.
Set 2.
All right, here we are. Elbows are pinned to my side. I'm going to do a hammer curl. It's just easier to clear my legs with that. Nice. Feeling those quads, hopefully activating here. And again, keeping the core engaged. Working the biceps if you've got your weights, doing a curl. Looking straight ahead.
Stop exercise.
Nice, shake it out. All right, set number 2, I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. I'm gonna hold one arm isometrically and the other one's gonna be dynamically working, okay? So I'm gonna hold my right arm in that 90-degree position.
Begin
So
set
it is
3.
statically working the biceps while my left arm, see if I can turn so you can see me better. There you go. Well, my left arm is dynamically working. So both arms working the biceps. One is just in a static hold, the other one dynamic. Still working those quads though, ladies. Just try to distract you from the legs here. For me, it always helps to have something else to do to distract me. Woo! Keeping the abs nice and tight. Great. Breathing throughout.
Stop exercise.
Maskless breathing. What a treat. That's what it's come to. Okay, left arm is going to be holding this time while the right arm is dynamically working, okay? Final set. And feel free to stay down here if you like. If you don't need that break, starting a little early on that last set, or maybe you stayed down, your quads aren't fatigued yet. Great. Keeping the abs engaged. Notice my elbow's not moving away from my body. It's staying right next to my body. Good. Working the biceps, working the quads. Almost there, ladies. Great job. Are your legs shaking yet? I'm starting to get a little
Stop
shakier.
exercise and switch
Nice.
to the next station.
All right, shake those legs out. All right, we're going to do a reverse wood chop here. Combination ab balance exercise. We have a couple of versions of this. Version number 1, you're going to step back with one leg.
Begin set 1.
Weight is optional. You're going to go from your hip across the body. Okay, so it's like you play tennis, it's like a tennis forehand, a little bit like a golf swing, not exactly. So you're keeping your abs nice and tight as you're rotating up. And I'm going to add this leg coming up. Now, if that's too much for you, you can simply slide it forward and keep most of the weight on that left leg. So you can incorporate as much balance work here as is difficult for you. So option number 1, you're just staying back doing the rotation. Option number 2, sliding that leg forward, keeping most of the weight on the left leg. Option number 3, actually lifting the leg up, okay?
Begin set
So here
2.
we go. Other side, hip across the body to shoulder or above. Again, depending on your shoulders and your balance, if you're able to go above the shoulder in an arc here, I invite you to do that. If you've got a shoulder that does not like going that high, you're going to keep it a little lower here, okay? Still engaging the abs, still working on that rotation of the torso.
Stop exercise.
Keeping the core engaged. Awesome. Woo! And again, weight's optional, ladies. Just adds a little bit. All right, set number 3. Make sure on that reset, your shoulders are down, chest is up, outside the hip.
Begin set 3.
Across the body. Again, lifting the leg is optional. If you're challenged enough, keeping that foot down and bringing it forward, you can still work on your balance that way by putting more of the weight on that left leg. Lifting the leg is just more of a balance challenge. And again, you're staring at that spot in front of you to help with that balance, whichever version you're doing. Great.
Stop exercise.
Nice, ladies. We have one more set. So for those of you who are golfers, tennis players, great exercise. Again, working on the rotation of that torso, engaging the core, okay? Here we go, outside the hip, across the body.
Begin set 4.
Excellent. Good. Make sure you're breathing, ladies. Focusing on that spot in front of you for balance. Nice thing about balance is you do see improvement just usually within a set if you're really focusing and concentrating, you will see that improvement. That's nice and tight.
Stop exercise.
Great job.
To the next station.
All right, we're gonna do some more arm curls here. Let's see, I got different weights. Just because I think most of you have probably lighter weights at home, and I do want to work on a little bit more balance. So for those of you who can, I want you to put one foot in front of the other. Shoulders are going to be down, okay? And we're going to do some arm curls together to start, some hammer curls. And there's your exhale. Now, if it's too much for you to do this balance, you can do feet just close together like this, okay? But if you're able, one foot in front of the other, and you want to think about being equally weighted here. So tendency is to put most of your weight on that back leg. It's going to be a little bit more challenging on the balance if you can put weight sort of equally distributed between the front and back leg, okay? All right, so we're going to switch which leg is in front. And this time we're going to go to a arm curl this way. Now that's if your wrists are good and you're okay with this. So we're doing a hammer curl. And now we're just going to do a little flip this way. Just a different way to do the arm curl. Still working those biceps, just works them a little differently. And again, this is, shoulder allowing, wrists allowing. You can certainly stick with a hammer curl if that works better for you. Remember, the elbows aren't leaving the sides. Notice my shoulders stay down, chest stays open. Working those biceps. Excellent.
Stop exercise.
All right, switching legs again. Now, there may be some of you who are not super challenged with this exercise in terms of balance. So I'm going to invite you to lift a leg in front, if that's you, okay? Probably not a lot of you, but there may be a few. All right, so
begin set 3.
Let's start with some pump in the arms first. All right, and then if you're able to lift that leg, if you need more of a challenge for balance, I'm actually dorsiflexing my foot, which means toes toward my chest. And notice I'm pointing my foot out, and that's just because I want emphasis on the inner thigh here, in addition to the quad. And I made it harder by pumping the arms. For those of you who are not lifting the leg, this is going to challenge your balance a little bit more, alternating simultaneously
exercise
with those arms. So this may be plenty for you. Leg lift would be one step further. Switching legs again. Woo! Shoulders down, reset. Chest up. Starting with your pumping.
Begin set 4.
Which again, that may be plenty for you. If it is, you're going to stick with that. If you want a little bit more of a challenge balance-wise, you're able to lift that leg, that would be the final step here. Final challenge. Great job, ladies. Woo! Nice. Again, you can lift it up for a bit and then bring it down if you need a reset. Whatever is challenging your balance today. 2 feet down, 1 foot up. 1 foot up for a few seconds and then touching down. That's fine too.
Exercise. Switch to the next.
All right, great job. All right, we are going to go to some clamshells next. So if you've got a band, I invite you to put that on. You can certainly do clamshells without a band, so feel free to do it either way. All right, if you've got a back issue, maybe you want to do it without the band. It may be plenty. So I want to make sure you are lined up, heels, booty, shoulders, knees stacked, lifting that knee up. So we are working hip and glute here. And I like to just relax here because I'm saving my arms for later. So just focusing on hip and glute, keeping the abs tight. And then you also want to focus on keeping the hips stacked. So you want to make sure you don't rotate back on your hip, okay? that your hips stay stacked, all right? We're gonna stay on this side for the next set. For those of you who need more of a challenge, you're gonna keep that leg lifted and just do a small pulse.
Begin set.
All right, so here's my knee up, and instead of coming down in between, I'm gonna stay up with the tension in that band and do a small pulse. Really should feel this targeting the hip and glute right there. Again, feel free to do the first thing we did all the way up and down if this is too much. But if you want more of a challenge, you're going to keep that leg up and do a small pulse. And again, you can use a band. You don't have to use a band for this exercise. Still can work the hip and glute nicely without the band. The band
Stop exercise.
makes it a lot more challenging. All right, switching sides. Woo! Again, make sure you're lined up, that your heels are in line with your bottom here. Knees are stacked, abs engaged, lifting that knee up.
3.
We'll go up and down the first set or down partially. Again, whatever is challenging for you. Make sure you're breathing, make sure your head and neck are relaxed. And focusing on that hip and glute. All right, I'm going to stay up now and just a little bit more of a pulse here. Nice, ladies. Good work. Woo. Coming up on that break.
Stop exercise.
There it is. Relax. All right, we have one last set. Make sure I'm in the right position here. One last set before we do some bridges. So one last set of hip and glute. Again, you're making sure your hips stay stacked. I'm going to try and pulse this up the whole time. So lifting that knee up, and I'm going to try and keep it up and just do a small pulse. Great. Woo! Hip and glute, ladies, aren't we feeling this? Big time. So glutes, really important to keep your glutes strong, to protect your back. They are your foundation for your core. People don't always think of the glutes when they think of the core, but it's all part of the core. So really important to keep your glutes strong and working. How are we doing? Are you ready for a break?
Switch to the next position.
All right. We're going to lose the band here. We're going to go into some bridges. And since we just got the outer thigh and hip and glute, I'd like to do some bridges with the ball today. If you've got a little something to squeeze, it could be a pillow, it could be a stuffed animal, it could be anything.
Begin set 1.
If you don't have anything to squeeze, hold your feet close together and just squeeze your knees together. That works very well also. So squeezing the glutes coming up, squeezing the ball. I'm going to raise my arms up just for a little bit more core instability, or to make my core work a little harder, in other words. Coming down, coming up and squeezing that ball. So in addition to hammies and glutes here, I've just added with that squeeze of the legs together or with an object between your knees, inner thighs, okay?
Stop
Exercise. Now make sure your abs are super tight. And the arms up again. That's just if you want to challenge your core a little bit more stability-wise. You can certainly keep the arms here. You can have them here or over the shoulders, okay? Set number 2, if you want to step it up a little bit, we're gonna stay up the whole set. And I'm just gonna pulse squeeze that ball in and out. I'm keeping my hips very still. Great, so this is gonna be more challenging. Abs stay nice and tight. Glutes stay tight throughout. Excellent, ladies, well done. Woo! Everything buttoned up, nice and tight.
Stop exercise.
Great job. All right. For those of you who want to stick with the ball or the object, please stick with that. If you want to do a single leg, I'm going to give you that option next to do so with me. We're going to do what's called a single leg hip extension.
Begin.
This is only if your back is good and you want more of a challenge. You're going to lift, your leg's going to be straight on the ground, this knee's bent. I'm going to push through my left leg, and the right leg is going to go down and up with my hips from the floor parallel to the other leg. Now again, this is only if your back is good and you want more of a single leg challenge. And you can also add this piece if you're feeling like your balance is really good and you want more of a challenge there. That should be pretty challenging. I'm sliding here, so I'm going to switch sides. All right, head and neck relaxed, shoulders down on that reset, core engaged. Whichever version you're doing, you can stick with the double leg and play with the position of your feet.
Begin set 4.
Maybe move your feet a little bit wider if you're doing that. If you're doing the single leg, you are pushing through that right leg now. You should feel that hamstring and glute pretty intensely, abs nice and tight. Make sure your hips stay nice and even here. This hip is going to want to drop. So you want to make sure, even when you're lowering your hips, that your hips go together, and then you're driving through this leg. Nice. Hold. Almost there, ladies. Good.
And switch to the next.
All right, for our finale, we're going to finish with some side planks. Now, as some of you know, there is a modification to a side plank, and that is doing it on your knees. Important thing is to make sure you're all lined up, knees, hips, elbow, okay? If the side plank doesn't work for you, feel free to do a front plank on a bench, on the floor, on a counter, whatever works for you. If you're doing the side plank, head and neck in that neutral position, abs tight, glutes tight. That holds for a regular plank too. You can extend this leg if you're doing the modified. Just make sure you're in a straight line. I like to keep my arm up. And you should feel the side here, among other things, all right? But your shoulders are down, your chest is open, abs are nice and tight, and head and neck in a nice neutral position. All right, switching sides. I'm going to do the more advanced version on my feet. You still want to be nice and lined up. I like to dorsiflex my feet, which means toes toward the chest, which gets those quads firing.
Begin set 2.
All right, so here we are. Up on your feet or on your knee. Either way works well. Abs and glutes nice and tight. Extending that arm if you can. Making sure you're opened up here. And that your head and neck is in that nice neutral position. Excellent. All right, we're breathing. Great job, ladies. Home stretch here. You should be feeling that side. Keep those glutes tight to protect that back. Excellent. Woo! Almost there.
Stop. Exercise.
All right. I see this little weight in front of me, so I'm going to add it just for fun. If you've got a small weight and you would like to do so, please join me. Again, whichever version you're doing, you can do this on your knees. You can do it on your feet. You do not need to add the weight if you're sufficiently challenged.
3.
Here we go, ladies. If we've got the weight, we want to add a little thread the needle. Feel free to do that. You can also thread the needle without the weight, okay? So again, this is just a really difficult way, or a way to challenge the balance a lot more. Core stability. Got the weight, it's that much harder. Great job, ladies. Woo! Pushing through, not dropping the hips.
Stop. Exercise.
Whether you're doing a front plank or a side plank, you don't want to drop the hips because that will put pressure on the back. We have our finale coming up. Are we ready, ladies? Woo! Here we go. Abs tight, glutes tight, feet dorsiflex.
Begin set 4.
Arm up, with or without the weight. And if you want to thread the needle, feel free. Great job, ladies. Working hard, finishing strong today. We are almost there. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure you're focusing on body parts that are working, which in this case, you've got side, you've got abs, you've got glutes engaged, upper body working, quads firing. Almost there.
Stop. Exercise. Your training is now complete.
Great job, ladies. Well done. Fantastic. All right, let's finish up with a child's pose to start. If you want to join me in a little stretching, please do so. You're going to sink into those shoulders, reaching back with those hips so you feel a nice stretch in the lower back. And then if you can sink into the shoulders and drop the head and neck, relaxing the head and neck. You'll feel a nice shoulder stretch as well. Great. Well done. Okay. And we're going to go into a little cat-cow. Hands underneath your shoulders. You can be on your open hand or on your knuckles if you have sensitive wrists. Making sure the shoulders are away from the ears as you inhale. Raise the hips up, raise the chest up, and hold. As you exhale, you're going to draw that navel in, tuck the hips, tuck the tailbone, drop the head and neck. I like to do about a 5-second hold in each position. So here's your inhale, chest up, hips up, and exhale, pulling that navel in, tucking the tailbone. We'll do one more. Deep breath in, hips up, chest up. And as you exhale, pulling that navel in, dropping the head and neck. All right, gently making our way up, ladies. Let's do one quick figure 4 stretch. I always like to open up the hips here, crossing one ankle over the other knee, nice and tall through the chest. You can do this on a chair, on a bench, on a bed if you need to. Something firm is actually preferable. And this might be enough for you to just cross that leg over, and that's fine. If you need a little bit more of a stretch, you can lean forward with that chest. Just make sure you're not rounding here, okay? You're nice and tall through the chest, either holding or gently leaning forward to get that nice hip opener here. Should feel like a great stretch. And breathing throughout. And then let's switch sides. And you'll find just like anything that you do, one side's a little stronger, a little more flexible. So it's kind of nice to be aware of that, so you can work a little bit more on that one side. And again, nice and tall here or slightly, whichever way you feel that good stretch in the hip, holding there, breathing into the stretch. Shoulders are down. And standing up, let's do one more. Shoulders down, hands behind the hips, opening up that chest. Great, great way to open up the chest throughout the day. If you've been on the computer or driving, just to keep those shoulders back, work on those postural muscles and work on your posture in general. Shaking the arms out, inhale as you cross those arms in front, exhale as you're reaching up nice and tall to the ceiling. And inhale, crossing the arms in front. Exhale, reaching up nice and tall. Let's do one more, ladies. Deep breath in. Exhale, reaching up nice and tall. Great job, ladies. Well done. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you're staying safe at home. Make sure you drink lots of water and take care of yourself today. Maybe you can get out for a walk if you haven't already. While the weather's dry, I know the rain's coming back. So anyway, hope you're doing well, everybody.